It's letter time, it's letter time. Dear Notes! What are your thoughts on Moonchild? I really enjoy all the other songs on In the Court of the Crimson King, but I have a really hard time listening to that 10-minute improv section. I just wanted your thoughts on it, and that was sent in by Trey Weddle. Well, Trey, thank you very, very much for the question. And this is something that I've actually been thinking about well, since I've listened to In the Court of the Crimson King back in like high school. What's the deal with Moonchild? Like, the first 4 minutes is really, really beautiful music, and I love how very soft and airy it is, how almost dreamlike it is. But then we come into that 8+ minute improv abstract what? And I know that's kind of turned off quite a few individuals. Yeah, what's the deal with Moonchild? So I've got a couple thoughts. What I see that Moonchild is what I term the chaotic resolution, but in a flip and reverse side, because up to that point a few bands had done similar things. Pink Floyd did it with A Saucer Full of Secrets. Alan Parsons did it with the last 2 tracks on I, Robot. This is where there's no real structure, there's no real tangibility within the music, but it all resolves in this big crescendo or this big moment within it. Like, even Genesis did this with The Waiting Room. I feel like with Moonchild it was a flip, because all the other ones was just this massive amount of music, and Moonchild is the lack thereof, and it's very jazzy in that respects, but jazzy in just this improv ridiculousness where nobody really knows what's going on. In the one sense, just staying with the point of this chaotic resolution, they needed Moonchild to really oomph that the title track of In the Court of the Crimson King, because after the, say, 8 minutes or so of that very impressionistic, very avant-garde, very like, what even are we playing? We have this drum beat that brings the music together, where it's just that do 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 do, bow bow down, bow down down of the title track. And I feel like if we had just gone from like a regular Moonchild right into that, it wouldn't be as punchy and it wouldn't be as in your face. But did we really need it? Did we really need it? And I would argue yes, because what Moonchild did was, it was this ephemeral, untangible thing. And as I mentioned before, it's not only that chaotic resolution, but it's this giant experimentation of like, what was music and is this music? It's very artful, it's very like all over the place. And what I particularly gleaned from this song is almost more like a metaphor of the Moonchild, of dreaming, and what it means to kind of slip between different sides of consciousness. You have this Moonchild, this otherworldly creature that one has found, that's essentially just dancing out in the moonlight. By witnessing this and by being in the presence, you start to slip yourself into this dream world. And when you're dreaming, it doesn't really make any sense, and sometimes it goes on for way too long, and you don't really remember anything outside of these like little wisps and these little things. So in that respects, it could even just be you're trying to remember the dream of witnessing this Moonchild, and all you're getting is like little senses and little dots on the horizon of what that was, but you can't really formulate this whole tangible entity. But again, at the end of the day, did we really need it? I can understand why people don't necessarily really enjoy the second part of Moonchild. I really do, and the only reason why I do is that it allows my brain to just kind of wander. It allows it to kind of do its own little thing. And this is something that I've been conscious of ever since high school, is that, you know, music is one of the few things that we don't just do outside of if you're playing it. Like, you're either doing the dishes, or you're reading a book, or you're doing housework, or you're taking a walk, or you're driving to the store, or something along those lines. Like, unless you're like me, and every once in a while you'll just sit down, close your eyes, and listen to music. You don't really just sit down and your primary action is listening to music. And in that respects, Moonchild provides, you know, this little respite of that continuous stream of sound. It just has a little wisp here and there of what music is. You know, it's almost like music in its purest form, where it's just notes here and there. And I always say it's almost like you're walking through, and again, I'm using a lot of metaphors here, but it's almost like you're walking through a valley, and it's deep at night, and it's just like a wildlife call there and an answer there. And it's like these, you know, mellotrons are calling here, and the guitar is answering over there, and that's about it. You're wandering this landscape and not really knowing what's going on. And that's another really great metaphor for Moonchild itself. So I don't really know if what is Moonchild, or what is the deal with Moonchild, really has a proper answer. It's kind of what you kind of glean from it. It's what your interpretation of the track is, and that's really only been my interpretation of it. I've never really hated Moonchild. I've always really appreciated it for what it was. I really loved the difference of it. Like, there was no other track that really sounded like it. It threw away all conventions of what music was supposed to be, and in that respects I really admire it and enjoy it. And I really love those chaotic resolutions. Like, I love Saucer Full of Secrets. I love the last 2 tracks on iRobot. I love The Waiting Room. So I love this avant-garde style, as long as there is a resolution to it. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like a lot of avant-garde stuff, because there's never really a proper resolution. And because I know that In the Court of the Crimson King is waiting for me at the end of this madness, I can truck through and be rewarded for it, you know? So anyway, that's my take on it. I don't really know if there is a reason for it. Like, I even think if you sit down and ask Robert Fripp what he thinks about it, he won't give you a definitive answer. And this is something that I do want to kind of leave you with. If it doesn't do anything for you, don't force it. If you enjoy In the Court of the Crimson King as an album, and you don't want to sit through the entirety of Moonchild, just do what my dad did and record it on tape, and just kind of end Moonchild once you get into that, and then go into In the Court of the Crimson King. And with streaming services now, you can just easily click on that skip. But also, don't just shrug it off immediately. Give it a chance, but even after that chance, if it doesn't do anything for you, don't try to force it, because you're just going to be aggravating and frustrated, and it's just not going to be your thing. So anyway, that's about it. Thank you so much, Trey, for your question. If you guys have a question, I've left all my contact information down below. Twitter's the easiest way to get in contact with me, but I've got my Facebook, where I post when bands reach out to me to advertise their music, so put it all on there. My email address, it's all there. So if you ever have a question for me, please send it my way. I love answering them, and if it's interesting enough, like Trey's question is, I'll make a video out of it. So that's about it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, you guys are definitely the best. And until next time, notes out.